If you're an attorney in the pursuit of a successful law practice, fulfilling career, and the life of your dreams, this podcast has it all. Behind the Bench gives you great tools to overcome the unique challenges you face every day as a law firm owner. Welcome to Behind the Bench podcast with your host, Josh Konigsberg, author, partner, and co-founder of Law Firm Marketing Pros and lifelong entrepreneur.
Welcome to another captivating episode of Behind the Bench podcast. This is your host, Josh Konigsberg, and as many of you know, I'm a digital marketing expert specializing in helping lawyers generate more qualified leads online and thus enhance their law firm revenues. Join us as we explore the fascinating realm of law, featuring insightful discussions, seasoned lawyers, legal experts, and industry leaders. Special thank you to our sponsor, Law Firm Marketing Pros. They get you more leads, more clients, and more profits. So we're thrilled today to have Jackie and Adam Williams, the dynamic co-founders of Pennywise Tax Strategies. With us, Jackie, a seasoned CPA and certified tax coach, and Adam, a renowned attorney and serial entrepreneur. They have combined their expertise to help law firms maximize profits through innovative tax strategies. I love that. I'm especially excited about this episode because it's the first time I've had a team as guests on the Behind the Bench podcast. So can you both share how you came to work together and co-found Pennywise Tax Strategies? And ladies, go first. So Jackie?
Sure. So right before COVID, like a year before COVID, I joined the law firm to help grow it. Adam had a law firm. And then from there, we were able to help so many business owners navigate a lot of the COVID stuff and the PPP, the ERC. And that was so much more impactful than building the systems and stuff that we were building in our law firm. And so we wanted to keep that going and wanted to keep more of business owners' profit in their pockets versus the IRS's pockets. And that's why I wanted to be involved in starting Pennywise.
Great. And Adam?
Yeah, I was a member of the Married Up Club for years. So when I went out into the professional world, Jackie and I actually worked at the same Big Four accounting firm, which we were married at that time. And then a few years later, I went off and opened my practice kind of as a side hustle. And then after a few years, she left the big time corporate gig to come in and join us and have more of an impact. And to skip over the part of the story that Jackie told, we dug into the finances for so many businesses, so many law firms through the pandemic, working on tax credits and PPP loans and stuff like that. And we realized there's a massive opportunity here because there's really a lack of education when it comes to tax strategies. And like any great team of entrepreneurs, we saw that opportunity and jumped on it.
Amazing. Love that. So let's talk about some of the challenges that attorneys face and some of the solutions. So how do you approach your law firm clients about the complexities of business ownership and especially in the context of tax planning? Jackie?
So, really, our approach, we try to start with the business owner's why. And because really all of the tax planning comes from a proactive approach. So if you know what their vision is, you know what their goals are, it's really much easier to understand what the next step should be in terms of, what do we need to do next to get the savings, or what do we need to do next to make sure that they're navigating compliance correctly. So I guess that's how the approach I take is start with the business owner. What's their why? What do they want to get out of their life and their business is like their vehicle to get there? Let's do it correctly.
Okay. And Adam, can you add to that?
I don't do a lot of educating. We tried to with the law firm, but entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs, right? We were a law firm that served small businesses. They're going to go and do this stuff. So half the time they call us before they go and screw it up. The other half of the time they call us afterwards, and we had to fix it. With the tax strategy business, Jackie spends a lot of her time educating. I spend a lot of my time getting people fired up about how much money the government wastes and how much of your taxes are going to fund that. So, as far as the complexities, once we show people what's possible and once we show them that we know what we're talking about, they actually don't really care about the details. They say, yeah, just go do this for me. And it's probably like marketing in a lot of ways, right? I don't need to see the back end of my Facebook ads. Just show me that the leads are coming in, right?
That's well, great analogy. And as I like to look at it, you're going to be managing the financial aspects of your business to minimize your tax exposure and maximize your profitability, right? I've been trying to do that for years, by the way. So, Adam, from your experience as an attorney, what are the unique challenges that law firms face, and how does Pennywise Tax Strategies address those issues?
I was actually talking to a dentist yesterday, and the analogy was really, really good because he's an owner operator. He's a practitioner, right? He runs a multi-million-dollar business and makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, but he's trained in teeth and gums and stuff like that. Lawyers are trained, some may argue this, we're trained in the law. We're trained how to think like lawyers. We're not trained in how to run a business and how to look at financials and how to understand the numbers. So I think for us, it partially does come down to educating and showing a distinction between what your current tax preparer does for you versus what your bookkeeper does for you versus what your CFO does for you versus what a tax strategist can do for you. So we do spend an awful lot of time talking about that. And outside of that, I mean, the uniqueness of lawyers is they're highly skeptical people. Like that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to look for the negative in things, which is
I know.
Yeah, which is not very entrepreneurial. Those things often conflict. So for us, it's really reassuring them that the things you hear about red flags and audits and whatever other scary things the IRS is going to do, kick down your door, I don't know, kidnap your dog. We really need to show them, not just tell them, not to just explain to them, but really demonstrate to them that all that stuff that you hear, there isn't actually a lot of truth to that. So let's give you the clear picture and a clear understanding of what this stuff really means so you can make an informed decision on it.
I love that. So Jackie, what practical tips can you share with law firm owners to help them optimize their tax strategies and legal practices for better business growth?
So kind of going off of what Adam said, I think in my experience, knowing their numbers is really important. And so that is something that is not maybe natural, but is something that as a professional, like an attorney, you expect that, well, I know them well enough or whatever, but really having someone work with you proactively to have a budget and what are you looking at month after month coming up and how has the money been spent so far? That allows us to really look at what do you need to get in terms of like strategies, how much, taxable income can we cover with ways to reduce it. If you don't have much taxable income at the end, you don't need to reduce it. But then also, if you're going to expect to have a lot come December, what are things we can put in place? Maybe you expect a big case is going to hit in December. What are some things that we can put in place earlier in the year so that it's not scrambling to try to figure out how you're going to reduce your taxable income at the end of the year? It's really spending time working on the business and not in the business, spending the time navigating the budget. And when you go from the budget, what's your new forecast looking like and going from there?
Which is where we come involved at law firm marketing pros, right? So, so pivoting a little bit to lessons and experience during the pandemic, Jackie, you helped law firms navigate financial assistance programs like the PPP and the Employee Retention Tax Credit. What were the key lessons learned from that experience?
So I think one of the key lessons was, I guess I learned a lot of lessons in that experience. And what I learned first and foremost was as a business owner, and then as a business owner that was performing the service for these individuals, is the value of the service being done for you and not trying to do it yourself. So learning the service, I did it for us, but then also like having it, being able to do it for other people, it totally released stress on their part. It was being done by someone who had experience. And then, we did offer the approach that people could try to do some of these things on their own. And it wasn't as successful. So that definitely was something that I learned that people value a lot. And is something to consider if you're on the fence about spending a little bit extra to have it done for you. The other thing I learned about it was that we had the value of a new law coming out, new programs coming out that we could learn and experiment is a strong word, but we learned, we navigated the way. And I think one of the valuable things I learned from that as an entrepreneur is that that's such an opportunity. It's not a burden. And I think sometimes as business owners, when things in our wheelhouse change and we have to learn something new, it can be scary, but it's also exhilarating and a big opportunity to learn something more. And, maybe you tweak it here and there. You get to learn from mistakes a little bit here and there too. So
one of the things you said to me resonates and it is the trust factor of trusting that I can hire someone who does have the expertise that can help me achieve the goals. And I deal with that on a regular basis. And unfortunately for me, there's a lot of charlatan agencies out there who promise a lot. And so that definitely resonates with me. So Adam, can you share a specific example of a failure or setback in your entrepreneurial journey and how you turned it into a success?
Yeah, I wrote a whole book about it. I think
what's the title of the book?
So, Everything Your Kids Wish You Knew About Owning a Business.
Okay. I love it.
I think for me, failures and setbacks, that's what we do every day as entrepreneurs, right? I get kicked in the teeth twice a day and I'm still smiling about it because I know where I'm going. But I think one of the biggest shifts that we saw was when I realized I shouldn't do it all myself. So, when we moved into our office, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I got a quote for the Ethernet cable and it was $1,300. And I said, shit, I'll figure this out and do it myself. Right. And I did. And it sort of kind of worked most of the time. I think when it comes to the business, I find the more things I'm delegating and the more things I'm handing off to experts to handle for me, the faster the business grows. It seems like such an obvious thing, but things look expensive and you consider the price tag without understanding the value of your own time as an entrepreneur, as a lawyer. So I've been really mindful of what work I personally am doing versus what I empower other people on the team to do.
Yeah, and I think there's a tipping point for law firms where they reach a certain amount of revenue, and it's time to bring in a COO or a fractional CMO or CFO. And you guys have the formula for that. I don't, but that's one of the things I love about what you do is those numbers, right?
Yep.
So in terms of some of the trends and developments that we're seeing, Jackie, what innovative strategies have you implemented at Pennywise Tax Strategies to stay ahead of the tax industry trends and developments relating to the legal landscape?
So I think, the word innovative, I think, is like a big word for a lot of tax strategies. I don't know that they're so innovative. It's really the timing of when you get in there to get them implemented, right? I think about, there are things out there that people might not know about, but if they are meeting with a professional and talking about it at the right time in the beginning of the year, and planning throughout the time frame, they're not that innovative. They're just rules, that just need to get applied or elected. And so a couple of things that have been, I think, really big for our clients. A lot of people didn't know a lot about if your state has it, that you can elect like a pass-through entity tax status for your S Corp or your partnership that helps you save money on your federal taxes. There are a lot of captive insurance opportunities if they're done the right way with the right groups that have been very helpful. And then, obviously monitoring pending legislation and what might be coming down the pike, like we did with like ERC stuff. And, as we see changes in our elected officials, maybe we'll see more stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's just really just staying proactive and staying in touch with what's coming down the pike and knowing what you're planning to do for the year.
And I think on that stuff, there's a difference between innovative and like underutilized or untested, right? So every day there's new case law coming out where they interpret the tens of thousands of pages of tax code. So it's just making sure we're staying within those bounds and and really the client's risk profile, because some people want to push things harder than than others.
Mm-hmm.
So the term I like to use is creative as well. And from when I saw, as a team, you guys spoke at a conference that I attended, and that's why you're here today. And I was blown away. And typically I don't stop and start to take notes on a topic that I'm not necessarily going to be interested. I have an accountant. And then I'm like, how come I didn't know that? How come I didn't? So the creative stuff that you guys shared, just absolutely mind blowing. And, we'll talk at the end of the podcast about how people can get in touch with you and learn more about that. But super impressive. So, creative, innovative. So sometimes those words are interchanged. So Adam, what are some of the emerging trends in entrepreneurship that law firm owners should consider when planning and executing their business strategies for the future?
Man, I could go on for days on this one. It's one of the greatest challenges I find as an entrepreneur is balancing the outside factors that are beyond my control with the stuff that I can control. So I will go and vote in the presidential election, but probably not going to sway things one way or the other, right? That's beyond my control, but it's going to have an impact on everybody's business, regardless of which way it goes. But on the other hand, the things I can control, the work I put in every day, the way that we maintain our relationships with our employees and with our customers. So one of the trends we were just talking about, let me switch gears. One of the trends we've just been talking about in our business is how Amazon has shifted consumer behavior. Amazon used to be the cheapest option, but they aren't anymore. Now they're the most convenient. So when my batteries die in my kid's toy, I don't go digging through the drawer for size D batteries. I order some on Amazon or from DoorDash and I get it immediately. And that's become the consumer expectation of that convenience and that speed. Well, you and I both know in our businesses, sometimes there's some work involved, right? And we can't have this done for you in 45 minutes. So I think that trend of how do you compete with Amazon's shifting of consumers' expectations with excellence in professional services?
So, and we relate that as a B2B provider, and then for our clients to provide the B2C level to their clients,
yep.
Especially in law, because it seems that everything in law is protracted, right? It takes much more time than a consumer realizes. And in many cases, for many consumers, it's the first time they've ever had to talk to a lawyer, right?
Yep,
so they have no idea how the system works. So switching gears again, and let's talk about some advice for the aggressive growth-minded professionals out there. And you can both answer this question or however you want to handle it. So looking ahead, what are the goals for Pennywise Tax Strategy in terms of expanding your business services to law firms? And how do you plan to continue supporting their financial growth and compliance?
All right, I'll take it. Fine. You paused. I'm jumping in there.
I was waiting for you to jump in.
Our next goal, our next big goal, we're going to help our clients save $100 million on their taxes. We're going to remove $100 million from the IRS's budget and put it back in the hands of entrepreneurs, business owners, law firm owners who we think can better utilize that money. As we get closer to that goal, and we did it with the ERC, we hit about 75 million. As we get closer to that goal, we are going to look into expanding the menu of services and helping in additional ways. But really, until then, it's finding more businesses to help that, most, like when we used to do this work at the Big Four accounting firm, we could go and save a Fortune 50 company $100 million in a year, right? And they weren't very grateful for the work. We're doing the work now for husband and wife teams that own businesses that are so grateful for the results that we achieve. So I think for us, that's a big number when we put it on the board. It's the type of number that the whole team goes, how the hell are we going to do that? And then you show them the math and they say, okay, let's go, let's do this. So that's our big focus. Our secondary focus right now is we're hiring more tax strategists. So if there are any disgruntled CPAs, lawyers, and former IRS employees out there, we're hiring.
Love it. Love the plug there. Jackie, anything to add to that? The big, hairy, audacious goal, as I call it?
Yep.
Yeah, no, Adam nailed that. And I guess if it's advice for aggressive growth-minded professionals, we're meeting tomorrow to go over our, different offerings to make sure that we're really, nailing what people need and are able to get to that goal. So kind of, even though working in the business, definitely working on the business to keep pivoting toward that goal as we need to.
Great advice.
And then finally, any additional nuggets of wisdom or insight that you'd like to share with individuals who are looking to take their law firm to the next levels? And I'm talking about skills or qualities that you believe are particularly important to their success.
If it's ladies first, I'll take it first.
Okay. Adam was smiling, but go ahead, Jackie.
Well, I mean, I really do think mindset is, we've been blessed to be in a lot of coaching programs where mindset has been a focus. And I don't think we could have navigated or grown what we have grown without having that skill set and keep working that skill set, right? And I think when you have that mindset, you do the things that, bring about risk that could be a failure, but you learn from it and you can, grow your business even more as long as you keep that mindset of growth and fail forward. So I think that would be the main thing that I would share.
Love it. Adam?
We're big fans of Ted Lasso. So if you lead a team and you haven't watched Ted Lasso, you're failing as a leader. But it's a really powerful scene where a guy goes out and screws something up, and Ted says, "What's the happiest animal on the face of the planet?" It's a goldfish. Why is that? Because they got a 10-second memory. And I think for lawyers in particular, where perfection is the standard to which we thrive in so many regards, when we don't hit it, forgive yourself, learn from it, move on to the next thing, right? So be a goldfish.
Love it. I'll use a sports analogy for that. For those hockey fans out there, that's the goalie's mentality, right? Lets up a goal, he's got to forget about it and stop the next shot. So we're going to move on to what we call our lightning round. This is where people get to know, like, and trust you. I'm going to fire off 10 questions. Just answer them quickly. We're going to start. Jackie will answer one. Then Adam, you'll answer the same question. And this should be really interesting with a married couple that work together. So I'm really, really, really excited about this. So Jackie, what never fails to make you laugh?
Adam.
Adam, what never fails to make you laugh?
Jackie's got this stupid dog. She's 10 pounds. She's a dachshund, and everything she does is just hilarious. So,
yeah, my second thing was going to be those type of videos on TikTok or whatever.
Dachshund videos on Instagram. Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Okay. Jackie, best compliment you ever got?
So I guess it's something that's been echoed a little bit lately. People say that I am a good nurturer and I give permission. And I think that is helpful in this role. I think finances and people talking about their taxes sometimes is uncomfortable. And I think I felt really complimented when someone said that I feel like people feel like they have permission to show up as they are to talk about something that's kind of hard.
I love that. That's great. And Adam, best compliment you ever got?
I used to spend a lot of time in court, and I was once in front of a judge who said, "Attorney Williams, you take your job very seriously, but you don't take yourself too seriously." And that's a combination for success in this industry. And that's stuck with me.
Absolutely. So Jackie, person that you'd trade places with for a day?
So there is a business owner, I guess, influencer on Instagram that I follow named Cody Sanchez that she does pretty cool stuff. And I think I'd like to learn more about what she does every day because she teaches some pretty cool lessons and is doing big things in her life.
Everybody check out Cody Sanchez.
Yeah.
Adam, person that you'd like to trade places with for a day?
Yeah, this is an influencer too, but it's somebody I've actually met, and I've been to his house and I've been to his business. Andy Frisella, he invented 75 Hard. He owns a company called First Form. He runs a pretty fun group coaching program, and he's got this incredible car collection and this just absolutely world-class dominating team and just a really cool business. And now that I've been in his shadow, in his presence at his business, I really want to get in and see more about how it operates.
Love it. And so, Jackie, guilty pleasure.
So it's like my morning routine. I read a lot of quote books and have a lot of woo woo and prayer time. And I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure, but it probably takes up a lot of time. Adam is like, how many books do you need to start your morning? But it gets my day, my mind right, and I enjoy it.
Adam, guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I don't feel a lot of guilt either. I got three. I like cigars, cool cars and airplanes.
Okay. Like it. Okay. So Jackie, biggest risk you ever took?
So my parents are not entrepreneurial. So very risk adverse home I was raised in. And I mean, my dad was an insurance underwriter. So that just to kind of give some flavor there. So I think leaving my corporate job in 2019 and joining the family business here and then having COVID happen right within a year after it was the biggest risk I ever took. And I think it had the biggest rewards too.
So Adam, biggest risk you ever took?
Like a lot of people, I started growing my hair out during the pandemic, and eventually it was down to my shoulders. And then maybe a year and a half in, I actually pulled it up in the man bun and got it like the undercut shaved underneath. That was a risky move. You'll notice I don't have that haircut anymore, but that took some guts.
Okay, I believe that it did. Jackie, worst piece of advice you ever got?
All right. So I struggled with this one. I have a thing with advice now that I feel like it's, even if someone gives you advice, it's your responsibility with what you do with it. So I kind of have turned it all into a lesson. So I can't necessarily say the worst piece of advice I've ever got, but I think the best piece of advice I've ever got is just learning more about compassion and having self-compassion and compassion for your spouse and others when they're going through hard times.
Okay. So Adam, worst piece of advice you ever got?
Yeah, this one got me going because the worst advice always comes with the best intentions, right?
Right.
So
right.
That's that you can quote that. But when I first started my career, there was another attorney who's now a judge who said, if you do a good job at a fair price, you'll always have plenty of work. And I believed that for a long time. And I still do believe that, but it's misguided because it turns out that if you do an exceptional job at a price that corresponds to the value, you will also have plenty of work to do and you'll be happier about it.
So well stated. Wow. So Jackie, what do you wish you were better at dealing with?
Quick, impactful communication versus giving a message across in many words. I'd like to be able to give it more concisely.
Okay. So, and Adam, what do you wish you were better at dealing with?
I think they call it emotional intelligence. I'm very results driven, and I will care about your feelings after you do your job. But I think if I was more in tune with other people's feelings and emotions, I'd probably be more successful.
We can talk about empathy later. Okay. So, Jackie, what is the one thing that you would like to change about yourself?
One thing I'm working on changing about myself is being more focused, to be able to stop worrying so much about, am I achieving enough every moment of every day, and focus on having time for achievement and time for enjoyment. So working on that currently, and that is one thing I'd like to change.
Celebrate the wins, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So Adam, what is the one thing that you'd like to change about yourself?
I could probably be a little more patient. I think entrepreneurs, we tend to start things quickly and rush into them and want results right away. And I think if I had a little more patience, that would probably benefit us.
Okay. Great self-introspection, right? I love it. So Jackie, what are you most passionate about?
I think it's really just anything that I work on, I want to make it better than when I found it. So I think that's really broad, but impact, I've learned, is one of my core values. And I think it's just knowing that I've had a positive impact on something makes me very passionate.
Love it. And Adam, what are you most passionate about?
Defunding the IRS.
Yeah, it's coming.
I really love that.
It gets me out of bed every day.
Right. Okay. Last question, Jackie. Tell us something most people don't know about you.
Well, I am on my third year of the Live Hard program, which is the extension of the 75 Hard program that Adam brought up. So on my third year, and it has been life-changing for my my mental toughness and for making sure that I put my needs first so that I can show up better for others. So.
Great. So Adam, tell us something most people don't know about you.
I'm pretty mechanically inclined. So I do a lot of the work on my race car on my own. I just replaced the fuel pump in my 69 Chevy truck and built some furniture around our house. So.
Oh, very cool. All right. I love it. Okay. So can you please tell the listeners what's the best way to contact you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we got a couple options. If you want to interact with us personally, Facebook, because we're there and we're posting and we're hilarious and educational and informative. But the company website is pennywise.tax. And if you go to pennywise.tax/save, we've got a free guide that we give out to business owners to see opportunities that they may be missing out on.
Okay, great. That's a wrap for today's episode. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun, guys. Thank you, Jackie and Adam Williams, for joining Behind the Bench podcast. Signing off for now, Josh Konigsberg.
Thanks for listening to another fabulous episode of Behind the Bench. I hope you take action on some insight and tips you learned today. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share.